Hi, it's Sam Prentice here from Game Squad for Project Mirtwood. I'm the senior developer with the enemies for the project. Today I'll just be going through the MVP, what we managed to get released for this project. So we got released simple enemy AI movement, enemy AI attack, unblocked player attack, blocked enemy attacks, unblocked enemy attacks, and enemy AI spawning. For the efficiency of time, I'm going to take the middle four and sort of talk about them together because there's a lot of overlap between the items. So simple enemy AI movement. The validation that we had for this one was that each frame, the enemy game object would check to see if it had a line of sight to the player, and if they did, then start moving towards the player. So firstly, we needed to create an enemy game object. So we created an enemy game object as a prefab so that we'd be able to reuse it later on. And then we attached a 2D rigid body component to it and used the physics module in Unity in order to physics push that rigid body, and that's how we achieved movement. Finally, to set it off with the trigger, the line of sight aspect of it. In order to get around this, we used ray casting, which is effectively shooting a laser beam between the two game objects, and it will let you know what the first thing it hits is within a certain range. So if it was player, obviously start moving. If not player, then don't do anything. I'll go through all of these quickly and then give you a demonstration of their effectiveness in the game at the end. So the enemy attack. Okay, so in order to do the next four items, we more or less had to create a conflict zone. I did this around creating an extra collider around the player object itself. And then obviously if the enemy objects interacted with this collider, then they would be that would trigger them to start attacking, and this would start that sort of stuff. So obviously enemies need to be able to attack. They need to be able to take damage as well. So if inside the conflict zone the player's attacking them, they need to be able to take some damage. And obviously if their health reduces beneath 0, then the enemy game object needs to die. The blocked enemy attacks, obviously if the player is blocking, that needs to trigger less damage. And also it will create a delay in the next attack. And then unblocked enemy attacks. So if the enemy object is inside the conflict zone and the enemy is attacking, but the player is not blocking, then obviously it needs to deduct health from the player itself. Enemy spawning. So in order to obviously make this game quite fun, it needs to obviously not just have a set number of enemies to kill, but obviously it needs to continue until the player dies or they reach the end. In order to do that, we've generated using the game object, the prefab, and we are placing that nice and closely to the enemy to up to a certain limit difficult we want to make it. All right, so I'll take you through those now. So as you can see, we've got the enemy game object. It is moving towards the player because it can see the player. Okay, it can't see the player. It's no longer moving towards the side. Okay, it's attacking us because it's inside this trigger that goes around the player. That should delay the next attack, and it has. Okay, this nextly, if we attack back, that will trigger the enemy death. Obviously, then we notice that there are enemies spawning near us, but they will spawn on the screen up to a maximum of 5 active enemies in the game zone, which is obviously something that we can trigger more of at a different point in time. So there's 5, and we should see no more. Up here. All right. Other things that we did get release. So we did release some extended features as well. We got through the enemy advanced movement. I don't know if you noticed while I was demonstrating there that as soon as we lost line of sight, the enemy moved in a completely strange direction. That is to hopefully unblock themselves if they are blocked. And then if it does, obviously they reconnect that line of sight and start moving towards the player again. We got through the final boss scripting and the final boss death. So in the event that you kill the boss, you get additional points, things like that. All right, that's all from me for now. Thank you.